Hey everyone, I wanted to walk through some of these new features within Cuppa and specifically look within the presets to show you where they are and what they do, and then also hit just more in depth what the power user upgrade is and how you can generate content directly from the SERPs and show you how to literally build the article with Power Editor, Power User Upgrade, and show you some additional features there. So if you are in your presets, you'll see. Let me go into edit. You'll see a few more things coming up here now, right? So key takeaways is one of the new um, prompts that we have within your presets. You can put it at the beginning, you can put it at the end, or you can not include it. So make sure to toggle that on, or off, depending on what you want. And then also include introduction and last heading is conclusion. So we know a couple of people have requested having this feature where they literally don't want the intro, don't want the conclusion. They solely want basically the outline, right? So now with this, you can toggle any of these on or off, which is great. So just definitely play around and see what the results are. Advanced options are still pretty much the same right now. More changes are coming here, but this all looks the same. Definitely utilize these. This is where Cup is great in the sense that it's bring your own keys, but with bring your own keys, you really have to test your inputs that lead to the output. I cannot stress that enough. It requires testing. That's kind of the beauty of bringing your own keys and why we're able to keep article generation so low, but you have to test. So switch up prompts, include some, don't include some. Just really dig in, see the output per result, and then adjust. Keep that in mind. Content manipulation. This is saved in Discord. It's a growing list. If you want to use it, just go to Discord. It's pinned in general. I use it, and that's all in there. AI images. This is for in-body images. Specifically, this will show with Power User Upgrade. Shows you how many articles that you can do, how many images you can do within the article. And then obviously select your style. You can do a custom style. Don't do DALL-E 2. There's a couple reasons for that. It is cheaper, but comes in the square. And I think we've had a few issues with that model generating. So I would always just do DALL-E 3. It comes in perfectly for blogs. So use that, and if you don't have the Power User Upgrade, this section won't show, but you can still generate the placeholder images. As a reminder, just like everything else with the presets and how Cuppa works, you're charged on a token basis for any of these things, right? So that's just how it all works. We pass that through to you guys, but if you're doing the key takeaways, that's another prompt, right? So it slightly adds very small token usage, but and very small actual cost. But just keep that in mind. Obviously, the more you add on the input side, it could lead to a situation where it's on the output side, better but more costly. So just keep that in mind. And now let's go to so that's the presets. That's what's new. Let's go into just a single article generation for Power User. With Power User, we're reaching out to the web, and we are running behind the scenes a few different API pings to help really build out additional information that you can add to your article generation, right? So that's what the Power User really is. In addition to the editor, which we have in the back end with the article generation, there's layers of more steps, all doing basically the same thing, which is reaching out to the web, getting you more information to essentially improve your input for stronger and better output, right? So keep that in mind. Here, of course, everything came through. You have your SERPs. Again, if you just want to click one of these and drag it in here, that's great. That will be our reference point. We use this entire article here as the reference point. It's the entire outline. Just be careful with that because, say this is very like informational based, but if you're doing product based articles with Power User and you're picking one, it will drag in the product that you're talking about, right? So like, if you're doing, I don't know, some type of product review or something like that, and you're using a SERPs and it has a different product that you're talking about, it is ingesting this article here on the right-hand side, the one you select, or the multiple ones you select, and using that as reference, right? So if you're specifically, diabetes is informational, so that's great for this. But if you're using products and you're dragging in something that's an H2 or an H3 from another article, just understand it is going to write about that product. So keep that in mind. Everything that's used here can drag into headings here. So obviously, if you want to import your own headings, you can do so. If you have a list in Excel, you can copy and paste in here. You can hit this magic little generate headings that does an AI ping to create an outline for you. Or again, you can just simply do this and hit replace, right? So that's all in there. Again, highly recommend using research data. You can do that in the keywords, the FAQs. This loads. We're working on a solution here to get this much faster. This is a Hugging Face model that we're using. So just keep that in mind. So keywords will generate FAQs. Again, copy and paste into wherever you want. Research data, right? Search sites. People also ask. News. This is probably something I use nearly every article. I like to keep, current news within the article. To me, is a good thing. So keep that in mind. Again, we reach out to Google and Bing. You can view the page, you can copy and paste, drop it into research here, right? So people always ask me how we can integrate this into bulk. We're working on some type of solution that might do it at a higher level, but also there's eventually going to be easier solutions than dropping in just data from, say, an article or something like that into this box. It might be an auto pull at some point. Nothing's off limits, but it obviously takes time to build. But in the meantime, you can do it all right here. So definitely add in research data. Also, I think I've seen some people, make them the custom outline. This outline is very important. This is what dictates the output, right? So I think we've had a few customers where they had literally one H2 and they were saying that article stopped. Well, no, the article didn't stop. It was just that there was one H2, right? So custom outlines drive or I shouldn't say custom outlines, but the outlines here, it can be custom if you so choose, drives the entire prompting series, right? So the more you have here or the less you have here is what dictates the output, right? So just keep that in mind. If you have one H2, it's only going to write one H2 based on your preset. If you have restrictions of 350 words for an H2, that's probably what the article is going to be. Especially if you're doing no conclusion, no headers, it's going to be one H2 that is restricted to 350 words. So, if you say 350 words as your preset. So just keep that in mind. Outlines dictate a lot, right? So this is where you really need to focus for building the quality input here to then extract and have really consistent and strong output. You can obviously toggle these, edit these all here. Adding in research data, highly recommend. This is where you can do the short code. If you're writing about diabetes, maybe you have a product table that you want to show that's a comparison chart of 3 different medications for diabetes. Add it in, right? Like I use affiliate table, drop in the short code. That's it. It generates here. Maybe you have a custom infographic you want to show. Custom code, drop it in here, right? Anything with an HTML code, you can drop it in here. Custom image, infographic. If you're using Elementor, you can use you can drop in your, essentially your email captures and things like that, right? So if you're doing like programmatic, or if you're doing like rank and rent or local plays, like I would definitely drop in a, grab a quote here type thing, right? So, um, so you can enter an email, you can ask for a quote, whatever it is, you can drop it in here, right? So that's the key takeaway. Anything HTML, you can drop in here, right? Same with the short code. So keep that in mind. And then obviously this is, your selection here. GPT 3.5 just got a lot cheaper. Keep that in mind. Also, definitely use your presets. It automatically does everything. This obviously doesn't work. Also, by the way, I highly recommend everyone just getting a test site. It's just very, very helpful to dump articles, see what happens, import, export with directly from Cuppa. What's your host limit for importing with the REST API with the application password? Everyone has different limits. Everyone has security plugins that cause issues. So it really is dependent on your setup. Excuse me. So highly recommend getting a test site. It doesn't have to be anything. It could literally be just something 99-cent domain that you put on WordPress or something, right? That is just, you can really test different things with it. So anyway, keep that in mind. And then once the preset's obviously done, all of this stuff automatically flows, right? So I always save draft, as I'm talking, we're 11 minutes in. Definitely do that. Like, it's just helpful. Like, I know some people, sometimes it just clicks away or you go somewhere else, and for some reason, I don't know what the reason is, it will be gone, right? So just save the draft. You can always come back to it. Advanced options, that's all done. Here's the 350 I was talking about. Again, if you just have one H2 and the heading and conclusions are off, intro and conclusions off, it's going to be a 350 word article on this H2. That's it. So keep that in mind. AI images, again, this is power user. You get more optionality here because you can put them in the body of the article. And then content manipulation, highly recommend, right? So keep that in mind. Same with the keywords here. Again, it generated, we're working on a quicker option here, but you can drag these in if you want into keywords here. Again, ignore this because this was a part of the preset that I selected for a test site, but you can drop in stuff. Do not add I think some customers that are like, I'll add in 80 keywords here. We're currently not built for that. You'll see right away if you're adding in 80 keywords, which I don't even know can fit in 1,000. It's going to be just totally overdone. So I would not recommend doing that. 1, 2, 3, sure. Up to 5, great. Adding in like 10, 20, 30, 40. You'll see once, that's the beauty. You can test an article for, 10 cents, or GPT 3.5, you can now do it for a penny. So you'll see it does not work. It generates, but it's totally overblown. So keep that in mind. And this, you can still find this in Discord. This is growing, which is great. A lot of these are just very common AI words that just, in conclusion, right, is kind of like the most basic version of that. But that's power user, right? So then you generate the article and go. It generates, and then of course, the other thing about power user is, right, you can go in and let's see here. Let's go into this one. You can make edits. Gosh, this was a long time ago. I don't even think we had AI images at this point. So you can go in and edit the article, right? This is the real other strong feature of the power user upgrade, right? You can do a lot in here currently in the editor. You're going to be able to do a lot more soon, including, I think I told you all, authorship is going to be available here. Images, this is where you can directly prompt something that you want and drag it in. So keep that in mind. This will become more useful for power users in the future with the authorship and a few more things. But this is only going to improve. The real, look, that's broken. The only real we have to update like some of these AI tool features. I know that's something that we're working on. It's going to be way more robust. there's still just a lot you can do with this already. So keep that in mind. So yeah, that's a little more about the new presets. Presets are going to honestly constantly grow. It's something we've battled back and forth with, like how much is too much. There is a point where everyone's going to be like, this is ridiculous with how many things you can select. But um, we hear you, but at the same time, the more requests that we have. For example, the capitalizing of every word within the H2s, right? That is logically going to be a preset, right? So this is probably going to get more robust, but there is some point where it might be too much. So keep that in mind. I can't imagine how many more toggles that would be, but I think we're probably getting pretty close to that number. So keep that in mind. But at the end of the day, the presets are so important. It just makes everything so much easier to do. Both from a single bulk, of course, it's just the only way to do it. Because it applies to all. But the other thing is, I would say too, is with your presets, it doesn't have to be on a site level preset. It can be a site level category preset. It can be a site level subcategory preset, right? You can get very specific, especially if you're doing a site that has tons of articles. You can get very specific, and I highly recommend doing it because, again, it's the more you direct it at the input level for a very specific section of your site, the better the output is going to be. So that's always what OpenAI API is, right? It is using the model that they provide, which GPT-4 Turbo is great. I can't even imagine what 5 is going to be, which is probably coming this year. That's all awesome and great job, OpenAI. But the real beauty is the inputs that you direct the article leads to the consistent output that makes sense. So, like in this case, like the more you can be very specific within the preset as opposed to just like a site level preset, I also recommend doing so. Okay, 17:30, wrapping this up, but that is the new presets. That's a little more about power users. What else can I say to wrap this up? Free credits. I just ran into this issue today. Free credits with OpenAI for new people to OpenAI API. That is just going to cause a lot of problems with Cuppa breaking. The limits are so low, and it's GPT 3.5 Turbo is what you can use. You can't use the other models, and any type of AI imaging, basically just don't expect it to work because it's one request per minute. So just keep that in mind. Even tier 1, you're going to have issues with if you're doing bulk. If you want to do serious bulk numbers, tier 3 and above is the way to go. I actually just shared on Discord, they just came out with a new, you used to be able, I think January, you used to be able to buy instantly credits to a certain point and then automatically get upgraded to the new tier. Now it's actually have to wait a couple of days, which is weird. So tier 2, you have to wait 7 days now after a $50 payment. Tier 3, which is the basically you should be A-OK with Cuppa at bulk levels of like 600 articles per project. That's $100 paid. Again, prepaid credits, right? You're going to use those credits. So it's not like you're just paying for nothing, right? You're going to use them. But you also have to wait 7 days now after that first successful payment to get tier 3. So keep that in mind. Tier 1's the only one you don't have to wait. It's $5 paid. But again, definitely go to your usage limits within your OpenAI account to learn more about it. But everything is dictated by your usage tier and what the limits are attached. That's just how the API works, right? So keep that in mind. Free is freaking garbage. It's always going to cause problems. So if you are on the free plan, don't expect Cuppa to work the way you think it's going to work. I highly recommend getting to tier 1, which is $5. Still pretty limited with what you can do. You can at least do single article generations. You can do in-body images, no problem. But if you're going to do like a bulk project of 100 to 200 articles, you'll probably run into a lot of errors, which is just dictated by the API on your tier. So that's it.